Hello, Goobers. It's me, your favorite Goober. And yesterday I mentioned three things that I was going to talk about. So I'm going to get right into it. The first thing I will talk about is the job interview that I had earlier today. And I can tell you that the best possible outcome has occurred. I got the job, which is really nice. I look forward greatly to having money and a source of income. And this job is a lot more. There's more hours involved than my previous job as a janitor. I I look forward to these paychecks. They're gonna be nice, and I'm going to be very happy, very happy. This is a big step forward. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but my ultimate goal that I've been trying to work towards because I really value this is I'm trying to get to the point where I can move out. That's That's my ultimate goal. And I set the goalpost. I have two different goalposts. I have the crack shot goalpost, which is to do it before the end of this year, right? December 31st. And the real goalpost is to do it before the end of June 2027. So, you know, a little ways out, right? I've got some time. But, yeah. Recently, I've been considering, even before I got the job today, I was thinking about, how would I achieve moving out in that time, how could I achieve it? And I'm willing to live a simplified lifestyle. I don't really need to go and do a whole lot. I'm a homebody for sure, so I don't really need a lot. I'm pretty easy to entertain. Um, and like I said, I'm a homebody. I like doing stuff. I like playing games, watching shows and stuff. I enjoy working on my creative projects too, and so I'm plenty satisfied. So I don't need anything extravagant. Um, Only thing I really care about is my own place to live and healthy food. That's, really everything that I care about. So I like an okay budget for food and a roof over my head. I don't need anything else. I'm not gonna be fiending for a bunch of stuff. So with that in mind, it's still really expensive to move out, right? And I've been considering finding like a roommate. I am like 99% sure there's like roommate finders out there, so I can hopefully find like one roommate. I don't want a lot of people, ideally. I just kind of would want like one other person, and maybe I can move out then, right? Just because trying to fly solo is expensive and really difficult to pull off, especially when I don't have like a specialized career or anything. But now that I have a job and after, a couple of months go by, I'll definitely have a better idea of how much I'm making and, just about where that lands me with whether or not I'm going to have any sort of confidence to move out. So when we get to that bridge, we will discuss it further. But for now, it's kind of everything in that regard. I look forward to having paycheck because I need money. Let me tell you, I need some money. So I'm real happy now that I can earn myself some moolah. Now, the next two things I want to mention are a little less exciting, but I still want to talk about them. The first thing was a handful of days ago. I mentioned that I was trying to iron out a specific detail for Project Fear. And the truth is, that detail was actually whether or not I wanted to include the fourth wall breaking character in that series. And I landed on a decision where I'm going to keep him in his own little bubble. Because the truth is, I would really like to try to use this character, but if I do put him into the story, he is a character that needs to have a lot of respect given to him. He needs to have a lot of importance. I can't just like have him on the roster of characters. I definitely would need to put a lot of attention, and he would be something that I'd have to write around. There's no two ways about it, right? And so I'm going to tackle this in a way where I'm going to keep him in mind, but I might go ahead and create like two different versions of the story. I'm going to try to develop more and more details for the story, and I'm going to see if I still like it with him as a part of it, or if maybe the story grows out of having him be a part of it. Um, we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, I'm going to keep him in his own little bubble and just kind of see where it takes me. I do want to use him. I am leaning, you know, more towards that, but it's just I'm not 100% confident because, like I said, he's a character I'm gonna really have to pay a lot of attention to, and I have to write around them. And while I do enjoy a lot of what I want to do with him, I just don't know if it's gonna fit the story that I come up with. So I'm gonna try to develop it some more, and then come back to it and say, hey, does this character fit in, or does it not really work? So it's kind of where I'm at with him. But yeah, on that topic though, whenever I think about this character, I really do think about how I've played, like, if I use him, I would be playing with the medium of manga in a way that would be pretty cool. And it inspired me. It's not the same, I would say. This isn't necessarily playing with the medium of manga, but there's a there's two ways I can go about it, and I guess you can say it's kind of well, not it doesn't play with manga specifically, but it just is its own little thing. But it brings me to my final point. I yesterday had this idea come into my head of something I could do. Now, I want to preface this by saying Project Elemental has been in development for way longer than Project Fear, and so there's a lot more time that I've had with it, and I've had some pretty wacky ideas and stuff. Um, just a little bit of context. It is set in a alternate universe. It is not our universe. They're not on Earth, but the Sol system is different, but it's got its similarities and whatnot. There's an Earth-like planet with a moon orbiting it and whatnot. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of this different. Planets are, maybe differently aligned and they look a little different. They got different things going on, but the Sol system, uh, similar but different. If that makes any sense. And I bring all that up because naturally they're probably not going to be speaking human languages. And a long while back, I had this idea for myself like, what if I made my own language? And I didn't want to just take the English alphabet, make a unique symbol for all the different letters, and then basically write things in English, because that's not the level that I wanted to take this language to. And so that was an idea that I had a while back. And I thought to myself the other day, because I was thinking about the character for Project Fear and messing around with like manga and stuff, and I thought to myself, for Project Elemental, what if I really took the time to make that language from the ground up, and it was like a fully fledged out language, had its own unique words that couldn't be like directly translated, cool stuff like that. And there's kind of two ways I could see myself taking it, right? So the first way was like, in the story, this language would exist, and as an author, I could use it to hide some information that's like right in front of the reader's face. So maybe a character is speaking to another character in this language, and maybe this character is thinking in this language, or there's some note written in a scribbled in a page, and it's in this language. The readers wouldn't be able to translate it, and I can choose whenever to give them their Rosetta Stone to hopefully solve my language, assuming they don't do it sooner. But yeah, I would make my own language, could play around with that, where the reader can go back and figure out some hidden details, figure out things that are just unnecessary, like, why is the character doing this or that? Because it's a mystery, because you don't know what it is, and then maybe you translate it and it's not important, but maybe sprinkled throughout there's really important stuff, and so it could be a fun little thing for community to solve, and then go through and translate and all that stuff. And that could be something fun, but um, yeah, I had this idea that at the end of the series, I could release an edition, because there's plenty of times where a series gets like translated, right? I can't read manga in its original language. I don't speak or read Japanese, so I wouldn't really be able to read it, but it naturally gets translated into English for the Western audience, and then I can actually read it and understand what's going on in the story, and not just see the cool art, but actually know what's going on, right? And I was thinking, what if I released a version of that story in its like in-universe original language? Because I thought it'd be kind of cool, you know. Just kind of wondering how I would go about doing that. And then after I had that idea, I posed this wild idea, and this one, bit insane, but naturally when you translate from a language to another language, there's some things that can't be one to one. And so there's going to be some rough patches, some oddities, and whatnot. And I was thinking to myself, what if I was insane enough to write the entire series, all the dialogue, everything in its in-universe language, translated it into English, and then it'd be like a special thing because when I do release the version of the story in its in-universe language, people could then go back and read that and have a more accurate telling of everything. And then I was like, how could I use that to maybe play with things, right? Because translations can lose a little bit of meaning um, as well. So then if I had the original language, the translations would be more accurate, and then there can maybe be some things that are uncovered or whatnot if I can be clever enough with it. It was a random idea that I had, quite the absurdly ambitious one, but unfortunately, I think it would be kind of fun to do something like that. I am drawn to these ambitious ideas, and so something like that kind of catches my attention. It's like, ooh, that'd be cool, you know? So I don't know. Those kind of my random thoughts. Kind of blabbering at the moment. I do appreciate your time, but I am going to end it here. That's kind of all I have to say. So a lot of good news overall. I I'm in a good mood today. Very satisfied. Yippee! But yeah, with that being said, that's everything. Good night and good luck. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye bye.